Hello, everybody. Have you ever been out and about and you could be at the mall and you're seeing the situation happen with young people? It could be people using profanity, or it could be dressing in a way that's not appropriate for public viewing, or it could be a situation where maybe you're at school and you are going down the hall. If you're a young person, or if you're in college, maybe if you're going down the hall, you could even be a teacher, and you're going down the hall and you're looking at this situation unfold right in front of your eyes. It could be something dealing with moral values. It could be dealing with something with profanity. It could be dealing with any given situation, but it's all wrapped around young people, youth, children. Or you could actually be turning on the television, and there in front of your eyes is a representation of what we don't want to see, which is our young people being represented in a way that is inappropriate. Well, today on Conversations with Asher, we're going to identify the problem, we're going to talk about the situation, and then we're going to talk about the solutions to the problem. So we want to just say thank you and welcome to Conversations with Asher.
Coming straight to you by the only host I know.
All right, you got the Conversationalist here.
Make sure you join the conversation.
Welcome back to Conversations with Asher. We're going to go ahead and introduce our first guest this morning. She is a principal from Dutchtown Elementary School in McDonough, Georgia. She is a wonderful individual. I've had the pleasure of being able to talk with her offline here a few times. We're going to bring out Dr. Winnie Johnson. And our next guest is also a wonderful individual. She is actually about to be a doctor herself. I call her Dr. Bonnie Waring. She is a instructor at the local high school at Lovejoy High School here in Lovejoy, Georgia, and we're going to go ahead and bring her out also today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to just go ahead and jump into the conversation here. I'm curious. I want to talk about both of you all's story, first of all. People are oftentimes interested in the individual that they're going to be getting information from. So Dr. Johnson, let's talk about you first.
That'll work.
What got you into what got you into the education realm? I mean, I know long before you became a principal, you had to do, there was a process you had to go through. What got you into education?
You know, the story is really actually very interesting because in high school, when I decided that I wanted to go on and become a speech therapist, I actually had no idea what a speech therapist was.
Okay.
And so I actually followed the speech therapist assigned to our school, made a decision to go that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And after I'd done that for 13 years, I became a school counselor,
Okay.
followed by an assistant principal. Then I went to the central office and became the recruiter for the school system in which I work. And then I finally came back to the school as a principal.
It's fantastic. That's fantastic.
I really enjoy doing any type of work that helps to shape the lives of students.
And you know, it's funny because I know as a principal, you see so many different things. First of all, being a principal at an elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
you see, it's oftentimes we know children don't, they are very transparent.
They are.
So what's going on in the home, you can see it. It's coming out in those schools. It's coming out. And in high school, they do it. They've learned how to camouflage a little bit better.
A little bit better.
Yeah, but in grade school and in kindergarten, those babies come to school and they tell everything. Oh, my mama said this. My mama did that. My daddy, and so they tell it all. So let's talk about that for a moment. And I know definitely, and we can, as talking with Bonnie, we can see how that transparency begins to be affected by the time they hit high school level. Exactly. And then how the behaviors, how they act out at that point. And then we definitely need to jump into what we can do to help change what we're seeing going on right now. So let's talk about that for a moment. Okay. Some of the issues that you see coming through the school as it relates to children.
Well, I think as our populations begin to change over time in our schools, we begin to see some of the same similarities in what our students are doing in school that they're probably experiencing outside of the school building as well. I think the school is almost a mirror of the society in which they live. And so I guess one of the challenges is having students have a real respect for what they're able to receive once they enter the schoolhouse doors. To have the parents have a real good understanding of the service that we're trying to offer the children, and have a level of respect for what's going on there that really helps us to get the job done in the school.
Yeah, and the thing it's really shocking to me because I see so many. You can go anywhere actually. You'll be in the local grocery store. You can be in the mall. You can be anywhere, and you see situations happen. And in particularly when you're in the school. When I drop my daughter off at school in the morning. Or if I come to sit down and lunch with her and I see some of the behaviors of some of the children, and I think to myself, wow, what is going on at home that would give you the impression that this is acceptable behavior? Number one, in an education environment, children don't often understand, at least I was told when I was growing up, that's your job. You go to work every day. I don't have a job, Mom. I don't have a job, Dad. No, you have a job. Your job is to go to that school and do the best that you can, because at the end of the day, when you come back, you're rewarded for what you do in that school.
Exactly.
And life rewards you so I was told that growing up. I don't see that level of understanding coming from the children that are in school today.
And I feel that it's our jobs as educators, and I think you would agree with me, to try and reverse that trend, reverse that thinking, and get it out there that, yes, that is your job, but we're all in this together, and if we work together as partners, 2 partners, 3 partners, or what have you, we can get back to that village concept.
Yes.
Where we all know our role in educating our students.
Right.
And let that student know that they have responsibility for their education.
Exactly. Exactly. I think that's a great thing. We're going to go ahead and take a commercial break real fast here and come back to you, and we're going to then talk with Dr. Bonnie Waring, and we're going to hear her story and definitely delve further into the topic of child and youth development. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Conversations with Asher. We are sitting here with our distinguished panel, Dr. Johnson, Winnie Johnson, and Dr. Bonnie Waring. Dr. Bonnie Waring, let's introduce you. Let's bring you into the conversation here. So you are a teacher at the Lovejoy High School, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And again, talking with you offline, you have had so many experiences, so many wonderful experiences, and so many revelational, eye-opening experiences being a teacher at the school, and seeing the different things as well as being able to impact your students. So what subject do you teach?
I teach biology, anatomy, and physiology.
So I'm just going to jump on something real quick, take this thing to the side left here. Anatomy. I'm sure that's an interesting class with high schoolers.
You know what they want to talk about mostly, correct?
Yeah, I'm sure. So when you are dealing with your high school students, first of all, what grades are you dealing with? What years?
Mostly right now, 9, 11, and 12.
Okay. So as you are talking with your freshmen, your juniors, and your seniors. Okay. So as you're dealing with your freshmen and your juniors and your seniors, and you're hearing different things, conversations, you're hearing different comments, you're hearing different things that they do on their off time. As we've already heard from Dr. Johnson, in the formative years, how is that translated to the years that we're talking about now, that they're in their pre-adult years?
Well, it's some kind of crazy transition going on. Now, see, I have a child in the elementary school, so I'm at the PTAs. I hear the conversations of the students at that age. I'm with them. And then, but something crazy is happening by the time they get to high school. The respect level is almost totally gone.
And why? Well, why do you think that though? Let's talk about that for a moment, because that's part of what the show is about.
Right. Well, it's not that it's so gone. It's just that there's so many definitions of respect now. And what's respectful in my house may not be respectful in your house.
Right, right.
And what's respectful at your church may not be respectful at your church. And so it's a matter of what is allowed and not allowed in your home or your community, and what kids feel is respect. Also, students feel very different than what we were taught. Students feel that we have to earn their respect.
Which is very, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Growing up, you know, I'm not old. You aren't old. We are not old. We actually identify. I get it. I understand it. I understand a lot of the young people. But here's the thing. I have a hard time dealing with I just recently had a situation where a 9-year-old little girl told myself and my wife, I don't like the way you're talking to me. Don't disrespect me. Who do you think you are? And I'm looking at this little girl thinking, are you seriously talking to me like this? Are you really? And here's the thing. The little girl was completely out of line at her behavior. She was bullying. And we know the initiative that we're dealing with with bullying in the state of Georgia. And she was heavily bullying. And as an adult, we stepped in and said, hey, that's unacceptable behavior. And then she fired back, don't you disrespect me. And I looked at this little girl and I thought, ooh, you know, I almost thought my hair was going to go out into a fro. You know what I'm saying? Because that blew me away, because I would never allow my daughter to communicate something like that to me, nor would she ever even think in her wildest dreams to talk to another adult that way.
I think that is because we're not raising our children as a village. Everyone's raising them in their own home. And students feel if you're not my parent, you don't have a right to say anything to me. And again, back to the fact that we have to earn their respect. I tell my students that when we were growing up, you respect the job of that person and you respected them because they were an adult, but they don't feel that way. And the problem is many parents are supporting that thought.
Right.
And until we come back as a community,
you don't say anything to my baby. You don't have the right to talk to my baby, instead of saying, oh, maybe my baby is out of line here.
Exactly. In fact, if I may jump in, what happens often when you have that type of confrontation with a 9-year-old, as you said, when administration gets involved and contacts that parent, it is not uncommon to have that parent come and get in your face the same way the child did. And so it's really not, so eye-opening, because we kind of see where it came from. Not always. We understand. I'm not saying that it's that situation in every home, because that's definitely not the case. But that is a very common trend that we see in elementary school.
We're going to definitely delve further into this topic here. We're going to take another quick commercial break, and we're going to come back, and we are going to get further into that, because I've seen some things happening. And I've observed some things, even in my home, as it pertains to some of the things that my daughter has brought home or talked about or seen. And I really want to jump on that as it pertains to the social effects of children. So we'll see you guys back here in a few moments with Conversations with Asher.